There is some controversy. This actually isn't controversy, it's the opposite controversy. This is regarding Sonic coming up. And one of the reasons that the first Sonic movie did as well as it did is because the movie was very unabashedly pro-consumer, meaning that when people complained, they actually listened to what those complaints were and actually were okay with making changes, which critics hated. Like, I didn't pull up the articles, but they were like, this is like ruining artistic integrity. They shouldn't listen to fans. But now it's going to become like a hallmark of the franchise. So it says Sonic the Hedgehog 2 poster changed after fan outcry. I support this. It looks like a fan's opinions have forced a change to the latest Sonic 2 posters following outcry over missing stars' names. I know, right? So this one seems a little bit sillier to me than literally changing the design of the character because it looks so awful in that first trailer. Miracle remembers.
Yeah,
it was truly
terrible.
It was truly the most terrifying.
What's terrible? I just made up a word.
What does terrible mean?
Terrifying and terrible at the same time.
Thank you. I just made up like a new word as we go.
Yeah,
but
that actually could be a word.
Maybe.
So no, I'm saying you could make it your own word. She could have her own merch that says "terrible" on it.
That would be funny.
It's so terrible.
So it says many films make minor changes following test screenings, but few have completely redesigned their main character after releasing the first trailer. 2020's Sonic the Hedgehog found itself in this very exclusive group after fans tore apart the design of the iconic blue speedster when he made his first appearance, with particular note given to the character's strangely human eyes. Yeah, the eyes were the creepiest part. While costly to completely change the character's face at that point, when much of the movie was already finished, it paid off with the movie being a huge hit. Now, the marketing team behind Sonic the Hedgehog 2 has been listening to fans again, leading to the changes being made in the latest poster from the film, including a couple of noticeably absent cast names. Now, I do wonder how big the characters are that they're talking about. Like, the only ones I really think of are James Marsden, who voices him. Or I don't know. No, does James Marsden voice him, or does the other guy? Ben Schwartz might be the guy who voices Sonic, and James Marsden is the actor that acts in the scenes with him. Yeah. The human who interacts with Sonic. So Jim Carrey, Ben Schwartz, James Marsden, and Idris Elba. Idris Elba plays is going to play Knuckles in this, and he's obviously a very big name actor. Everyone here knows him, even if you don't necessarily watch a lot of movies. Everyone's heard of Idris Elba.
Yep.
So, but it says they were all listed, but the names of Tika Sumpter, who returns as Maddie Wachowski, and Colleen O'Shaughnessy, providing the voice of Miles Tails Power, were nowhere to be seen. So those two actors, actually, I do kind of agree with that. Like, not including when Tails is clearly such a big part of the poster, maybe it would make more sense to add them as well. But I guess when you make the poster, if you want to add more names, you have to choose between making the names of the bigger stars. Then they have to shrink them down to fit all the names in an artistic way. So they were like, well, and this is like a thing in Hollywood. They like in their contracts work in like who gets first credit.
Oh yeah, it's a huge deal. I'm going to reference one of my favorite shows of all time, which is Gilmore Girls. If you've ever seen the opening credits for that, there's and I can't remember the actress' name, Kelly Bishop, who plays the grandmother. So it's like all these people, Alexis Bledel, Lauren Graham, whoever, and Kelly Bishop. And then it says with special appearance by Edward Herrmann, who plays the grandfather.
The first and the last credit are the most important in the opening credit, meaning like if there's a with featuring or a with and at the end.
With that contract negotiation, Kelly Bishop, who's a theater star, and Edward Herrmann, who was notable in his time too, it's negotiated that way because she gets this sort of meaning, we're recognizing talent, and he gets the with special appearance. He's in every episode. He's not in a special appearance. He's always in it. It's to acknowledge both of their careers, but also he was afraid that this series would be not successful, and so he got the special appearance.
Did you watch the OC?
No.
Okay. What was the guy's name who plays the? It's from the show Covert Affairs. There's a show called Covert Affairs with Piper Perabo, and the lead, one of the guys who's in the show, he was the dad from Peter Gallagher. The first two seasons of that show, or season of that show, he's listed as special appearance by, and then it's added to the opening credits at the end.
Edward Herrmann stayed special appearance through all 7 seasons of Gilmore Girls, which I think is kind of funny. But it was,
They did the
established.
same thing to Sharif Atkins in the show White Collar. He was he was in every episode of the show, but he was listed as guest starring for the first 3 seasons per his contract because it gave him the option of getting out
Right.
if he wanted to go star in something else.
Yeah.
And then he was added, and of course there was the people like, why is Sharif Atkins not getting main cast credit when
It's
he's
like,
clearly
this is what he wants.
Yeah, it's like it was his choice.
Yeah.
It wasn't them being rude.
For
It-
this, sorry, I'm cutting you off.
but then also, I remember in the show Bones, David Boreanaz and Emily Deschanel literally had credit at the exact
The
same
same
time.
time.
They
Yeah,
would
yeah.
not give one credit for the other.
Yeah, which is pretty cool, to be honest.
Because the show does star. I mean, the show's named after her character, but the
it
show's really
relies on
seen
them
more.
both.
Yes.
Also, is it named after her character? Or is it named after like the tools
Yes.
that links their two professions?
And he gave her the nickname. So
Right.
who's not to say that doesn't make him?
And
the-
it's almost impossible to have the show one without the other.
Yep.
I mean, it's so interconnected.
It's such a funny thing to think about, like that this is like part of their industry. That like, I need my name to appear before this person's name. The same thing happened when the film Miami Vice was coming out. Jamie Foxx was credited second next to Colin Farrell, and then he had just won his Oscar for Ray, and he's like, no, I need to be credited before Colin Farrell now. It needs to say Academy Award winner, and he demanded to be paid more or the same as Colin Farrell, even though the contracts had already been negotiated. So that's a big deal. So what these people are, it may seem
it may seem slightly insignificant, and I think in some ways, looking at this, it's like they're saying the men are at the top, but not the women.
Yes.
On the other hand, this storyline might just feature more male characters, therefore making those roles significant.
and they're in the posters. So James Marsden, like I said, I didn't remember. Like I didn't do a lot of research. I just watched them. This is one of those glorious movies where I just watched it and I didn't do a lot of. I tend to IMDb a lot when I'm watching movies. It's a. I don't know if that's part of the ADHD, but it helps me stay both focused and not focused at the same time. But this is nothing new for this franchise, because if you notice here, this article was from CBR and this is from 2020. It says Sonic the Hedgehog: How Listening to the Fans Accelerated the Film's Box Office. Imagine that. Listening to the people that actually pay money to see your products goes a long way in your product actually doing well. Hard to believe, I know,
Right.
but it is true. It says it's been a long-running gag in Hollywood that video game adaptations are guaranteed to be critical or commercial failures, whether it's a lack of faithfulness to the source material, poorly rendered CGI, or bad writing and characterization. Video games are the only thing Hollywood seems incapable of turning into box office gold. Actually, recently, Uncharted has proven that to be untrue. Uncharted did quite well. It says Hollywood seems to be incapable of turning into box office gold. Recently, though, video game films have been on an upward trend. Last year saw the release of 2 well-received video game adaptations, Detective Pikachu and the Angry Birds movie 2. I never saw. Did you see that?
I did. And
I love the Angry Birds movie. I think it's.
Oh, that's
I never
amazing.
thought I would. It's great.
What's it about? Literally, is it about just Angry Birds?
yeah, it's
Okay.
just about the game.
I don't want to get too political, but like it has a message that you may not expect from a Hollywood film.
Okay.
And I think it stays true to completely the premise of, I mean, I can't say there's a huge plot line for the game,
Mm-hmm.
but like the birds live in a city and pigs invade. So it's kind of interesting.
Incredible.
I actually encourage a lot of you to watch it. It's
Yes.
about
Have you watched the second one?
No, I've only seen the first one.
Okay, the second one was.
What-
It's so different from the first one.
See-
Like it didn't follow along the lines what the story was, because the second one basically they're looking for, they're looking for the egg. Basically, it's
Yeah.
like the same premise as the video game.
As you know, I personally feel strongly that the remakes or sequels are not always necessary, and so
Yeah.
therefore, like,
Yeah.
I love the first one. I'll probably never see the second one because the first one's good, and I don't need to take the other
Yep.
not as good content into my brain.
There's
well, the second one is cute. They have a lot of baby birds.
Aw.
there's a lot of arguments like your love of the first one won't be like, it doesn't make the first one any less good of a movie. Some people can do that where they can see the crappy second one and still love the first one just as much. Other people have a much harder time.
Okay, can
With
I
that-
reference Gilmore Girls again?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's multiple times this episode.
Yes, you can.
Gilmore Girls ran for, it's literally like, I don't know how, I think I only watched the show and then I somehow merged into the rest of the world. But
yeah,
there are 7 seasons, and the husband and wife Sherman Palladino team that wrote it after the end of the 6th season, they were in contract negotiations, and they actually got let go by the production company. And so the 7th season is written and directed for the very first time without them, and it's like all kinds of things happens. It's actually, the dialogue is very different. Like if you are
It feels different.
it's different, but so much happens that a lot of people remember it because they just packed a lot of plot in, and I won't go into it, but it's different. And so there are people who say, and she's confirmed this, Amy Sherman-Palladino wrote the last episode of the 6th season so it could function as a series finale if contract negotiations fell through
and they canceled it.
and they canceled it completely. And so there are people, and I always say this, like, you just don't watch the 7th season. And when they came out with the Year in the Life, like the one afterwards, there were people who, it wasn't clear if Sherman was going to recognize the 7th season or not.
Yeah.
So I think in some ways, you know, I haven't seen Sonic the Hedgehog 1, but I would feel more inclined to watch Sonic the Hedgehog 2, given that they are tied to their audience in this really open way.
And they mention, it says often, it says, in an industry that adapts everything into a movie and makes numerous changes to characters and plots in the process, often much to fans' dismay, Sonic the Hedgehog was the rare instance where the team behind the adaptation took fans' input into account and went out of their way to create something the fans truly felt was for them and not just for the general audiences. See, changes to that design have nothing to do with the general audiences. It has not, like, they didn't change that design to make it more palatable to regular people. Even regular people saw that thing and said, what the hell is that? So that it has nothing to do with that. A lot of times it's more out of artist vanity than it is out of general audience. So it says, plus the reason it's getting made is because the fans made it popular enough to make a movie out of it for general audiences. So the idea is, why would you lose what gives it the soul that made it worthy of this adaptation to begin with? And it says, but they talk about how they made all these changes and the fans showed up in kind to watch the movie. I think it did 146 million domestically. Which was very good. So it was like something in that range. So I'm excited to see how part 2 comes out, if they're still paying attention to fans. And the guy who wrote it, Jeff Fowler, was it Jeff Fowler? Yes, it was. Did a very good job of proving that he's on the side, even if it's just for marketing purposes. Even if the dude behind the scenes is like, I don't give a crap what fans think. As long as you make the changes, or as long as you actually make the product that the fans want, I don't care if you actually like fans or not.
Right.
Your job is to make something that we enjoy watching.
Yeah.
So
well, and like if you were a marketing team and you make a poster and we're like, we love it, but the fans hate it, like then you have failed in your job.
Exactly. So we will see. I do think that's a cool poster, though.
It is a cool poster.
Miracle likes it. So.
I love it a lot because look at little tails.
I feel like it would fit perfectly onto your background. All the colors and stuff.
Yep. It would fit like right there. So it's
we're gonna find room.
There's a lot going on, but it's well organized and structured. I'm a fan, so we will see how this one goes. I support any topic anytime I get to talk about fans actually being treated with even a modicum of respect from these creators. So thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.